I hear people say that resin sticks to EcoPore, but EcoPore doesn't stick to resin. But shall we find out? So this was from the black I had left over from a different project. So I decided to just pop it into the mould that I had handy, which was this one because I just used it. And just I did clean it up a bit because just to get this sort of pattern that I wanted. And then I thought, well, what am I going to do with it? So after reading, I've just recently used the Elechem Aquacast Turbo. And while reading the manufacturing instructions, it said that you could decide which medium that you're going to put down first, whether that's resin or whether that's the Aquacast Turbo. Now they do sell their own resin, so whether the two has to be combined, I don't know. So what we're going to do, because usually resin will stick to EcoPore, but EcoPore won't stick to resin, even if it does temporarily. Generally, it comes apart. So we're going to try it with the Aquacast, based on what I read in the instructions, just to see if this will work. Right, so I'm just going to mix up my Aquacast, and then I'll be back. Right, so I've mixed up my Aquacast and I'm just going to leave it white. And there's no lumps in that. Right, so I'm just going to pour it in. I don't need it to go down into the grooves because it's already covered with the black. Just give it a bit of a shake. I mean, the work time with this, you don't get very long at all, as you can see. Right, there we go. Yeah, I'll just sand the edges rather than mix any more up. Not that it's a problem because it takes that little time to cure that I could probably stick another coat on in the next 20 minutes. So yeah, we'll see. There we go. I think that's just proved that one wrong, isn't it? So, there. I mean, in all fairness, that's a great way to do a design. It really is. So that I'm going to try. But yeah, it's an epic fail. It really doesn't stick to, one doesn't stick to the other. So there we go. There's your answer. But yeah, I'm going to try and do something with UV resin then, like this. You've got more control over the UV. So I'm going to do patterns and then I'll be back and show you that. So I used acrylic marker pens. Now these were off the TikTok shop. They are absolutely amazing, particularly when using them on EcoPore or even resin. Honestly, they are amazing for the price. I will link them down below. So I'll just speed through this. This one is a bit of a long one, but honestly, it's so worth it. So please, please hang on in there and bear with me. So I decided to colour it all in with the dual tip acrylic markers, and I think it's turned out really cool. I'm really pleased with that, considering it was a learning curve rather than a mistake. Yeah, I love it. So this is the end result after the top coat. I made the fatal mistake of trying to touch something up there, and you can see it, but it gave me the idea. So what we're going to do is do this on purpose. So let's get started. Right, so first of all, we're going to use the same insert that I used for this, but because I've broken the seal, what I'm going to do is drop down some UV resin just in the groove, then making sure it's all the way around. I only need a little bit. Let's move that bit off there. Make sure it's all in the gaps. And then I'm going to place this down and cure it from the bottom side because this is obviously black. Trying to see which is the right way. Yeah, that was the way. Right, I've got a stick and I put some gloves on. So, because I've got my gloves, I might as well just pop this down. Right, so I'm going to push this right down and then wipe that off the top. Because I don't want any on this bit, apart from the pattern that I want to draw on. But whether it'll work with UV resin, I don't know. Right, that's pushed all the way down. And then we can cure that. I should have used my bit of light really. Right, so I've brought my big lamp out and I've cured it on the underside for 3 minutes and then cured it on this side for a further 3 minutes. So it's had a good curing, plus I'll be curing it intermittently as well. Right, so let's turn that off. So the resin I'm using, or the UV resin I'm using, is J. Diction's high viscosity resin. Link as always in the description. And I'm gonna do dots, I think. Now this was the point that I actually decided on the pattern I was going to do, but can you actually see the hesitation? Honestly, the self-doubt is unbelievable, and as a crafter I'm pretty sure if you're watching this that you'll understand what I'm on about. So yeah, I just literally did dots with the UV resin, and because of the high viscosity they were holding quite well, so I decided not to cure halfway through and just to go straight with it and just put random dots all over. Now even at this point I'm saying to myself I should have coloured the dots, but then instantly I'm thinking, well, what's the point, because the dots are not going to stick to the tray anyway. So yeah, that's my thought process. So I'm just curing this to make sure that they are well and truly cured, and then I'm going to pop the aquacast on top. So I'm just going to mix that up. So here's the aquacast. I have actually tried using the Let's Resin neon powders in this, but you can see it's just gone like a lime green. I mean, it's a nice green as far as greens go. So I thought, right, I'm going to use some resin ink that's neon and see if that made a difference. And no, it really didn't. It just turned into this luscious minty type of green. As I've said before, I'm not a green lover, but yeah, I could roll with this. So again, not the look I was going for, but we'll go with it. And at this point it was curing, so I had to be really fast. You can see how thick it is. Yeah, it really was that thick. So I'm trying to scoop it out the cup. Now I like to leave a little bit in my cups because I like doing the terrazzo pieces, and there's a video on that coming up shortly. Yeah, so I like to leave a little bit in there just so that it solidifies. You can see how much and how fast this is curing. I literally had to scoop it onto the tray. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a shimmy and a shake, just so that all the bubbles come to the surface. And then at this point it occurred to me, what if I'm shaking loose the resin? But did I stop? No, I didn't. So waiting for this to cure. So we are ready to demould, and it's cooled down now. So let's see whether we get the effect we want. Do you know, I wished I hadn't put this on. I mean, to be fair, it stuck to it. But we've got the effect that we wanted because I wanted the holes, so that's worked. But that is literally, oh, there you go, stuck fast to it. So do you know what? We've got the beads there still. I'm going to do another one, but with the sides without this, because there's not really a place I can go with that, because there's, you know, no depth to it, because I want to fill them with different colours. And I don't like the dots, you know, the speckles in it, so we're not going to use the mica powder. So I am going to use the Jesmonite pigment for these. Right, so we'll go again. Let me show you this. Look at the effect we get when we pop it underneath the UV. Look at that. That is stunning. I love that. So I think we'll use the pigment paste at the ink, but not the powder, because that's what's give it like that speckly bit. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that. I've gone for the blue with this one. So I did pop some resin dye, the neon blue. So let's see whether it's come out as well. Now it's still a bit damp, you can see. So I'll be putting it on my rack. So I'm just gonna, they should literally fall out. You watch, it's just my luck that they will stay in there. Right, I'm going to wait for that to dry out and then try and get these out. And there's some that's not stayed on, but these are quite sort of level with the tray. They feel almost like they're part of the tray. So perhaps UV does stick sometimes to EcoPore. So yeah, we'll see when it's dry. So this has been weighted about an hour now, and it's still not completely and utterly dry. You can still see where, you know, it's still a little bit damp. And believe me, when I say the struggle is real, I thought the struggle was real before, but honestly, I really struggled to get these dots out. I had a knife and I was trying to dig them out. You can see where the scratches are. Yeah, so honestly, this mate has really, really tested my brain, tested my patience, tested all of the things. Really, it has, honestly. So, and I keep saying so. What's all that about? I've mixed up some UV resin. I'm literally just pouring the resin, or just dabbing the resin into the dots. So we're just going to do 3 for now. Let me get some gloves on. Put some gloves on. This is the neon colours from Let's Resin. I hadn't used them yet, or I hadn't used the majority of them, so I thought this would be a really good way to use them. It's giving me summer vibes. As the weather's getting a bit nicer, I thought, right, let's just do something bright and cheerful. And then we'll see whether it glows, whether I put enough in. What other colour do we need? Orange. So this video has been long enough. I'll pop you on speed and then we'll get to the finished results. So I know this has been a long one, and if you're still with me, thank you so much for sticking with it. After all the attempts, I'm still not quite happy with it because the top coat, the UV resin top coat, has darkened the blue. So again, maybe not the right choice of colour, but I like the idea. So yeah, you can use UV resin to make patterns with EcoPore. So, question, does it glow? Well, the main colours do, but the tray, not so much. I think it's only glowing where the green was sort of left on it a little bit. So not enough pigment. But yeah, that's a fabulous glow from the colours in it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, if you would do so, I would really, really appreciate it. It just helps to push my content out. So I hope this has been helpful. Stay safe and happy crafting. Bye for now.